All right, so for the first part, I'm just gonna mute everyone and we'll unmute you at various times so that you can answer things and ask questions. So, welcome, good morning. I know high holidays are gonna be like no other, and so we wanted to be able to just take some time to explain a little bit. So I've thrown together a little PowerPoint, just give me a second to open it, that hopefully will walk you through and explain and just take some notes if there are questions. I promise we'll have questions. I have a day filled with life cycle events, so I just want to get through the presentation, and if necessary, Sherry and Rachel Whitmore will always take over and answer questions. So hold on a second, I'm going to just run the slideshow. Okay, here we go. So, and if you need anything, throw it in the chat and we can always respond to the chat too. So, creating sacred space and technology support. Since I have your attention, I decided to just remind you, first of all of you are here because you've registered, and we're happy that you are joining us. Your friends and family and neighbors are all welcome to register, whether they live on Long Island or anywhere else. But please, if they would like to do so, you can just direct them to the website. Just please have them do it as soon as possible. Sherry and I are pretty much our team of staff, and we work very hard the week leading up to the holidays, and it is really helpful if we cannot be doing this on Thursday night, so let alone Friday afternoon. So please, anybody is welcome. We're happy to have everybody with us. So I want to talk just for a moment before we get to the technology about creating sacred space. First of all, your device in terms of what you're going to use to be watching Zoom. So in this case, the bigger the device, the better it will be, the easier it'll be to be able to see what's happening in terms of the service. So if you are able to put, if you know how to mirror your computer or your iPad onto a TV, or you have a smart TV like that, that's ideal to set yourself up in front of a TV. That would be the best way to do this. If you don't have that as an option, the next best thing is to use a computer, whether it's a desktop or a laptop. If you have a laptop, you can set it up in a space that might be a little more comfortable and conducive for creating a sacred space so that you can, you know, enjoy the worship. Oops, sorry about that at the bottom. Enjoy the worship experience. If need be, you'll do an iPad. We're really encouraging people not to be on phones. It's going to be very hard to see the words and to see myself and the cancer on a phone. So if you have anything other than a phone, it will be better. There is a difference in terms of Zoom between the way it functions on an iPad and the way it functions on a computer. So if you're debating an iPad or a computer, I'd push you toward the computer, because you will have more functionality and better options in Zoom on the computer than you would on the iPad. All right, just another note about sacred space, your setup. So we're encouraging you, create a nice table, throw a tablecloth on it, pull some of your Judaic items out, candlesticks, a Kiddush cup, challah plate. When you pick up your bag later today, remember 4 to 6 in Bethpage, you'll receive some candles, some a Havdalah candle, matches, spices, just so you have some of the ritual items you might not have at home, and you can add those to your table. If you are one who's inclined to wear a kippah, yarmulke, a talit, pull those out. It's wonderful to be able to have those for the holidays. If you have a prayer book that you want to use, we do have lots and lots of prayer books, and we're happy to loan them to you when you do your pickup in Bethpage today. If you'd like prayer books for the holidays, just let us know and we will happily give those over to you. What to wear. So I know for many of us, I have not fallen in this category, but for many of us, being on Zoom has meant kind of being as casual as possible, or at least casual on the bottom, because nobody ever sees below the top. But for the High Holy Days, we're encouraging people, you don't have to get as fancy and dressed up as you might have coming to services, but do something to make yourself feel like it's different, it's special, it's holy. That's really the point of what you choose to wear. And now we're going to talk about the 3 kinds of Zoom experiences that we're having during the High Holy Days. So what we're doing right now, just so you know, this is a Zoom meeting, okay? We're going to talk about that in a minute. There are 3, this is probably the most important part of this morning. There are 3 different ways that we're going to engage during the High Holy Days. One is what's called a Zoom webinar. And we're calling our webinar room the MakomNY High Holiday Webinar Sanctuary. And that's where in that particular room, it's one link, you'll find the main Rosh Hashanah morning service on both the first and second day. You'll find the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur family services. You'll find the Kol Nidre and Yom Kippur morning services and the Yizkor service. Okay, that's the Zoom webinar. And what are the benefits of the Zoom webinar? You will be able to see myself, and our cantorial soloist, Jessica Steinman, will be side by side in your screen. And there will be a third screen that we're calling the visual tefillah, which means it's the slides of the prayers and the images. You don't need to worry about being distracted by other people, because the only 3 screens you can see are mine, the cantors, and the slides, the prayers. The second category, so the first is the Zoom webinar. The second is our Zoom meeting room number 1, called the MakomNY High Holiday Zoom room. It looks just like what we're in right now. And the things that are going to be taking place in the High Holiday Zoom room are the Erev Rosh Hashanah blessings. We want to come together to be able to see each other, and as we open the holiday season. The Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur Young Family Services, and the Mitzvah Project and Social Justice opportunities on Yom Kippur afternoon are all in the High Holy Day Zoom room. Also in the High Holy Day Zoom room is Yom Kippur afternoon and Ne'ilah. And after most of our large gatherings, and you're going to see a schedule in a moment, and we can send this to everybody after it's complete. So if you miss something or you want to follow along again, you can watch the video again. After every one of our large gatherings in the webinar, there'll be an opportunity to come into a Zoom room. We're calling it Oneg or Oneg Shabbat, to come and see one another and wish one another a Shana Tova. Those are the things taking place in what we're calling the MakomNY High Holiday Zoom room. The benefits are that we can see each other, and we can share our sacred spaces, and we can see and be part of that greater community. The third option is also a Zoom meeting room, but we have to have 2 Zoom meeting rooms because we have a lot of programs we're offering, and otherwise it would be like walking into the same space with 2 things going on, so we can't do that. So we have another meeting room called the MakomNY High Holiday Classroom. And the only things taking place in there are the text studies with Sherry and the meditation or mindfulness with either Agnes or Marla. It's the same benefits as the other Zoom meeting room. You get to interact with one another and see each other and feel the sense of community. So those are, I'm going to pause for a second, and those are the 3 spaces. I'm hoping that makes things a little bit clearer for everybody. I'm going to look at my grid of faces. Are you still looking befoozled, or are you feeling a little better about this? Okay, we're a little better. Okay, good. All right. Next step, and then I promise we'll have plenty of time for questions, is I just wanted to lay out for you day by day what our schedule looks like and which of the 3 rooms things are taking place in. So hopefully this will help you to understand. So on Friday, September 18th at 5:30, we hope you're all going to join us for Erev Rosh Hashanah Blessings and Sharing Sacred Space. This is not a full service. It'll run about 30 minutes and we'll have a little schmooze time afterward. It will be an opportunity for us to share in the blessings. And by the way, in your bag that you're getting later, there will be a sheet two-sided with all of the blessings on it so that you have that sheet to be able to follow along. And that will take place in the High Holidays Zoom room so we can see one another and be able to converse with each other. On Saturday, September 19th, at 9:30 in the morning, we have our Young Family service. It's a short half-hour service. And again, it's in, by the way, HHD, High Holy Day. I didn't want to have to keep typing it out. It will take place again in the High Holiday Zoom room because the young families, the kids need to be able to see one another and act, and be able to interact with one another. At 11 o'clock is the main service, which I expect is where I will see most of you, if not all of you. And that will be our first High Holiday webinar sanctuary activity. The room will open 15 minutes in advance, so you can start to come in. We'll just have some music playing, and it will begin at 11 o'clock. You won't see each other when you come in. Just remember that. You will see the screens for myself and for Jessica and for the prayers. Right when that finishes at approximately 12:30, we will have our Oneg Shabbat gathering back in the Zoom room. So we'll close out the webinar sanctuary and you'll just click on the other link that will bring you into the Zoom room so you have a chance to say hello. All right. Further on that day, we have 2 o'clock, the family service, which will also be in the webinar sanctuary with a little gathering afterward back in the Zoom room. And at 3:30 on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, Sherry will be teaching a class, a text study in the classroom. So again, it's a Zoom room, but it's a separate link because we have multiple things going on Yom Kippur. Sunday, second day of Rosh Hashanah. You know that there are options for Tashlich taking place. You have to register. The third one is full. So the 11:30 slot is full. If you haven't yet signed up, you can email Sherry if you didn't sign up originally, but you can sign up for either the 9:30 slot or the 10:30 slot, and you'll be getting more information about that later in the week. But when you come, everyone wears a mask. There'll be separate spaces by cars. We're presuming that the car you arrive in is the car that you're socially distancing with. And you'll have a chance not only to do Tashlich, but to also hear the blasts of the shofar live. While those Tashlichs are taking place, we also have things happening online. So at 11 o'clock will be the Rosh Hashanah second day service, also in webinar, so that you can see the service in full. That is the only service that will be pre-recorded because I haven't figured out how to be in two places at once yet. At 12:30 following that service, Sherry will host an Oneg gathering back in the Makom Zoom room. And at 2 o'clock that day, Agnes will be doing a wonderful meditation. She's been leading meditation on Rosh Hashanah for several years with us, and that will be in our High Holiday classroom. For Yom Kippur, 7:30 at night, we have the Kol Nidre service. The Kol Nidre service this year will be a little different from what you're used to. We're going to be weaving sermonettes throughout the service between some of the major prayers and musical pieces. Jessica and I worked on this and we think you're really going to enjoy it and that it's just a little different so you don't get too bored at home watching Zoom. That will be in our webinar sanctuary. And then at 9 o'clock following, we'll have a little gathering in the Zoom room for those who would like. On Monday, Yom Kippur Day, once again, the Young Family Service will be in the Zoom room, in the High Holiday Zoom room. And at 11 o'clock, just like on Rosh Hashanah, the main service will be in the webinar sanctuary. Again, we'll open it up at 10:45. So please do come on early. So if there's any challenges, we can take care of them before the service. Right when that service ends at 12:30 approximately, that room will stay open. It's the only time we're going to have the room remain open after a service, because people are going to want to stay on for Yisker. And we'll talk more about Yisker in a moment, but we will start running our Yisker slides as soon as the morning service ends and as people are coming in, and it will just continue to run until we start the service at 1 o'clock. So the Yisker and the morning service on Yom Kippur are both in the webinar sanctuary. There'll be a little break, and then at 2 o'clock, we'll reopen the webinar sanctuary for the family service. Also at 2 o'clock, there will be the mindfulness class with Marla, who also did it last year, and with great feedback, we're doing it again this year. So that will be in the classroom while we're doing the family service in the sanctuary. There'll be a small break, and then at 3:30, we'll have an opportunity, and you'll hear more about this once we get going in the holidays, about our mitzvah project presentations and a social justice project that our college students are involved in. And that will take place in the Zoom room so we can have a chance to share and talk with one another. On Yom Kippur afternoon, Sherry will teach another tech study class at the same time as the mitzvah project opportunity, and that will be in the high holiday classroom. We'll have a little break, and then at 5 o'clock, we will have a Yom Kippur afternoon experience. It will be in our high holiday Zoom room because several people will be sharing some different stories. We're going to do a little fun thing with Jonah, and that will be our afternoon service. We'll have a very brief break, just a quick bathroom break, and we'll keep the room open, and we'll move into Ne'ilah and Havdalah, where we want to see everybody. We want to see your Havdalah candles. We want to be able to wish you a healthy and happy new year. And we will conclude approximately at 7 o'clock. We'll remain in that same Zoom room if people want to just have a chance to say hello and wish one another a happy new year. So that is our schedule as it moves place by place. I wanted to just kind of remind you, the Zoom meeting room, which is what we're in right now, there are two main ways to view it. One is the gallery view, and that's what you see under where it says gallery view. Those are me with some of our college students, and that's where you can see everybody. And when we move out of the PowerPoint, we'll have a chance for you to make sure you know where the gallery view button is. If you'd rather see the main person who we're focusing on, who's singing or reading or speaking, then you want to be in the speaker view, and you see Gavin and Maya, who sing with us every Friday night. That's the speaker view. And you can still see on top of the speaker, you can see some of the many people who are in the Zoom room, but you don't see all of them. Okay. The webinar room will look something like this. I forgot when we were recording with the PowerPoint to grab it. So the PowerPoint will actually be below where Jessica and my screens are, but it will look something like this when you're in the webinar room. Okay, now that we got through all of that information, here's how you're going to make your connection electronically to get into those three rooms. You are going to receive an email. This is an important email. Don't delete it. Don't move it out of your inbox. Leave it in your inbox because it hopefully will go out tonight. It is going to contain your individualized links for your email address. So when you registered, you gave us an email address. That's the one we're going to send the email to. And it's going to have 3 links. So your email is going to look something like this. Sam Bravo, we are pleased to share with you your individualized High Holiday links. It's going to say Makom High Holiday Zoom Room with the link, Makom High Holiday Webinar Sanctuary with the links, and Makom High Holiday Classroom with that link. 3 specific links that are going to take you right into the room that you need to be in, as long as you are clicking on it from the computer that has the email that you gave us. That's the only thing you have to remember. Okay, and don't forward that email to somebody else because it won't let somebody else go in. It has to be your email and your individual information, and it will only let one person with that email come into the room at a time. Okay, keep this email handy. You need it each time you're going to enter a service or program. And the only time you won't need it is after the Yom Kippur morning service or Yom Kippur afternoon leading into Ne'ilah. When you get that email, you can test the link. You can click on it. But because the rooms aren't going to be open until 15 minutes prior to any service, you won't be able to get in when you try it. But you can try it, absolutely. There's no harm in doing that. And I actually will get an email that says that so-and-so is trying it out. Now, Rachel Whitmore and I were doing a little playing around to try and show you different things. So here's probably the most important thing that you can come away with this morning is if you don't have a Zoom account, when you click on your link, any of those 3 links, it's going to pop up that you need, it says, this webinar is for users with a Zoom account. Are you new to Zoom? Sign up free. So if you have a Zoom account, it's going to take you right into your Zoom account. If you don't, it's really simple to sign up. Now, many people think that because you're in Zoom, you're all in Zoom right now, that because you're in Zoom, that you have a Zoom account. And that is just not true. You can easily be in this Zoom meeting today without a Zoom account. But we want to make sure that everybody has a Zoom account so you can easily get into the room. And when you register for your Zoom account, the one thing you have to remember is use the email address that you gave us so that the registration link is connected with the Zoom account. That's all you have to remember. If you're somebody like myself or Sherry or Rachel and we have multiple Zoom accounts, then as long as you've used that Zoom account on the computer or device that you're using, you won't have any issues. I know there's going to be questions about this. We'll come back to it. Okay, so when it takes you to create a Zoom account, and by the way, you can all do this right after this morning's session, go to zoom.us. It's that simple. Write that down, zoom.us, and you're going to open up a link. And this is what you're going to see. It's going to look just like this. If you see this, you already have an account and you are good. So this is what my account looks like for Makom. If you have an account, this is what it's going to look like. Now, hold on. If you see what's about to come, it means you need to create an account. So if it pops up like this, it says, don't Zoom alone, and there's an open thing, you just need to fill out very simply your name and your email information. It's going to ask you for verification to confirm your date of birth. I promise nobody else will know that. And then you're going to put in your email address. It says work email address. Don't worry about that. Use the email address that you use all the time when you signed up for High Holidays. Once you do that, then you're going to get a screen that looks like this. We've sent an email to, this was my only email address that didn't yet have a Zoom, so I used this one. And once you do that, you're going to get an email that looks like this. This comes into your email. It says, hello, welcome to Zoom, activate your account. You're going to click on that blue button and that is going to activate your account. And now you're all set and you have a Zoom account. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, this is all the stuff they don't teach you in rabbinic school. Just want you to know that, okay? Okay, so take a breath. I promise we'll answer any of the questions. And if there are people who are really struggling, Sherry and Rachel are going to be available today or throughout the week to walk you through one by one if you need to. But we have a feeling that many of you with this presentation this morning will be able to figure it out after seeing this presentation. How am I doing on time? Great. Okay, just a few things I want to point out, and we're going to play with them once we get out of the screen share. One of the challenges with Zoom meeting room is when I share my screen with you, you lose much of the function of Zoom unless you know how to get out of it, which is a little complicated. So we're gonna just walk through the PowerPoint to the end. Then I'm gonna stop my screen share and I'm gonna walk you through a few things on your Zoom, and then Sherry and Rachel will share anything, and then any questions you have, we will answer them. There is a chat feature in the Zoom rooms. Whether or not it's a webinar or a meeting room, there's a chat feature. This feature is a way for you to communicate with the host. Now, when we're in webinar, it will be that you just communicate with the host, that's me, or Sherry or Rachel if they're logged in as the host as well. There will be times, especially when we're in those large services, where I'm going to invite you to submit in the chat ideas, thoughts about creation, gratitude, names for Misha Berach, names for Kaddish. So we want to make sure everybody knows how to utilize that chat, especially in the webinar, but in the meeting as well. And I'll make sure everybody sees where the button is when we stop this screen share. Be muted. You will automatically be muted when you enter any of these rooms. If it's an owning room or it's a room where there's an opportunity for sharing, like the classrooms, maybe not the first part of meditation, but the second part of meditation, then the host will unmute you so you have a chance to be able to speak. The way Zoom works right now, we can tell the computer to ask you to unmute, but often you have to click on it to unmute yourselves. Okay, being visible. We love seeing you. Like this morning, you're all on the screen. It's so great to see everybody. And we hope that when you're in the meeting rooms or the classroom, you'll be in your sacred special place and that you'll be able to be seen. In the webinar, we can't see you, just so you realize. We hope that you're still going to be in that sacred space and we want to see you at the end of the webinar services, but we can't see you when you're in the webinar. If you are in a place during a meeting that is distracting, we ask you to turn your video off. If the host finds that your space is distracting, you're walking around, there's phone calls constantly, we're just gonna turn your video off. Don't take it personally. We just wanna try as hard as possible to keep and maintain that sense of sacred space, which is, we know, a little challenging on Zoom. Oh, that was meant to be in earlier spot, but I went through all of that. Okay. Yisker. Let me talk about Yisker for a moment. So, oh no, wait, I did mean to do this. The only time that, for Yisker, the slides will start running just after the morning service at 12:30, which I mentioned, and the service begins at 1 p.m. And it will be in webinar format, so nobody will be distracted. Our Yisker memorial. So at Makom, we create a memorial PowerPoint. You need to submit the names of loved ones to us, and you are invited to submit a picture and a brief thought about your loved one. If you want to submit names on the Makom website, this is the link. You've all been sent it many times. You can also just go to the Makom website under High Holidays, and there's a link there. If this is really important, if you have submitted names and pictures, etc. in the past, and you want the same slide, just complete the form and tell us same as last year. It's actually much easier for us to duplicate the slides from last year. This is a sample of what a slide could look like. It could be really simple with just a name. It could have a name with a little bit of description. It could have a longer description. And it could even have a picture if you so choose. So everyone you have one slide to create it. If you put too much text, it is hard to read. I will definitely give you that heads up. Okay, stop share. Hello, everybody. All right, let me just do this for a moment so I can see everybody. So before we unmute you, Rachel, I'm just going to make you a co-host. Before we unmute everybody, I want you to look at the top of your screen. So either it says view and you can click on gallery or speaker, or it just says gallery or speaker. So if you click on speaker, then you're going to see, I'm going to spotlight myself. Okay, if you click on speaker right now, you should see my face with my background because I'm spotlighted. And if we're going to hold off on unmuting for one sec, Sherry. And if you click to gallery view, then you should, depending on what size your device is, you should be able to see all 26 people who are on the screen right now. If you're on a smaller device, you're not going to see all 26. If you're on an iPad, you're going to have to kind of use your finger and swipe through, and that's how you'll see the different people. Okay, so that's the difference between your gallery view and your speaker view. Now, everybody look at the bottom. Do you see where it says chat? Okay, I'm gonna send you all a message in the chat. Hopefully you see it. So click where it says chat, and if you can, send a message to everyone. Ah, Rachel, thank you. Cindy, beautiful, beautiful. I see lots of people have figured out the chat. Again, for some people, this is easy, but for others, I know you haven't been utilizing all of these before. So if you can, put, thanks, Jack. All right, put a message in the chat, and don't worry, if there are people that need some hand-holding walking through, we will help you, I promise. All right, Rachel or Sherry, before we open up to everybody else, is there anything in general that I kind of skipped over or didn't address? And then we will ask Rachel any,
Nope, all good.
Good. Rachel, go ahead.
I think that there was just one thing, and everyone will see it as when they get the links and you click on it to go into webinar. Even once you have a Zoom account, it can happen that when you click on the link, it will take you to the screen where you might have to enter your email address for the account that you created right before you get in. So it doesn't always automatically go straight in, but as long as you've created that account, you just enter that for email, and that email is already authorized to get in, so it will go directly in. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. So the other thing is, for people who do have Zoom already on your computer, I will tell you that Zoom updates regularly, and typically, like most electronic items, the updates are an improvement from the last version. Occasionally there's a kink in that and it doesn't work. But the latest update is 5.2.3, I believe, for Zoom. If you want to take advantage of some of the newer things, you can do that by updating your Zoom. So that's more for people who are a little further along in the Zoom process. But if you're somebody who Zooms regularly, they do update pretty regularly, and I just updated to the latest update, and it does have some nice features that you can utilize. So, and if you update, so for example, I'm going to right now add a spotlight so that Sherry and myself on my screen are both being spotlighted. If you have the most up-to-date Zoom, you should see both of us if you're in spotlight mode. But most people probably don't because it's a very new update. Okay, so let's unmute everybody. My suggestion is put yourselves back into gallery mode and
Gallery mode.
okay, gallery mode. Okay, so tell me, how can we answer questions? And if you have a call or something else going on, just mute yourselves. Carol, I'm unmuting you.
And some people I'm not able to unmute. So if you want to speak, just unmute yourselves.
I have a question, Rabbi.
Go ahead, Carol.
Let's just say you didn't sign up for every single service and then you want to go something.
Great question.
Morning coffee.
Okay, great question. So it doesn't matter what you clicked on in your registration, you can come to any of our online services. So we ask you to let us know what you think you might come to so we get an idea of how many people in each space. But You are welcome. It's a great question. You are welcome to come to any of our online services. If you are somebody who on Yom Kippur, it's easier for you to fast by being in services all day long, then just, start off with the young family service. You'll think they're really cute and you can just move from room to room with us all day long. Absolutely. Good question. Thank you.
Okay.
Others.
What is the Zoom website?
Zoom.us.
Okay, I got it.
I will put
Thank
it
you.
in the chat.
That's right. No, I had it. Good.
You have it?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat as well. So anybody who needs it, it's just zoom.us. It's very easy. It pops up. And Rachel will tell you she was even surprised that she thought she had an account on a certain email address, but it turned out she actually didn't have an account. She just always used it and it wasn't an issue. But for this webinar, the way we're doing High Holidays, everybody just needs to have an account. Other questions?
Nora.
Question. I tried to do the Zoom and I was confused to open up an account because it asked me, what is my password? So first I put in Shalom 2020, then I put my email password, and neither one of them worked.
Okay, so if you're just creating a new Zoom account, it's like any other online account, you create a new password. It's not the Shalom 2020. That's our password for our regular this Zoom room. And it's not your email password. You're creating, when you create a new account, you have to put in a password. Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Hold on, Nora. Go ahead, Nora.
Oh, I'm going to try that. Thank
Okay,
you.
try
Right
that.
after.
If you have trouble, you can always reach out to, Robert, 1 second, sorry. You can always reach out to Sherry or Rachel if you're having trouble with that.
One other thing, if I may.
What?
One other thing, if I may.
Yes, of course.
Of your presentation, things were jumping around, the screen got blank, and things were just going crazy. This is a brand new laptop, so I'm glad it went back, but it made me very crazed for a moment.
Maybe offline, Rachel, can you maybe connect with Nora? Is that okay? Rachel's probably the one to help you talk that through. Do you have is it a PC or a Mac?
The PC.
Okay, so Rachel, do you mind connecting with Nora? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so Nora, Rachel's email is just rachelwhitmore@gmail.com. So Rachel Whitmore, WHITMORE @gmail.com. Okay, perfect. Rhoda.
Yes, I tried to do a chat and I don't see where it says send, but I still see the chat on my screen.
Okay, so go into the chat at the and where it says type message here, type your message and then just press return. There's no send button, you just return.
Or enter.
Enter, yes. Whatever your computer says.
Okay.
Try that. Toby.
Hi everyone.
Enter.
So you said something about connecting this to a smart TV. Any quick help, or should I contact someone?
So it depends what you already have. So in my house, we have an Apple TV. If you have an Apple TV, it's very, very easy because your Apple TV will literally see whatever's on your laptop, your computer, your iPad, whatever you have. So that's the easiest one if you have an Apple TV. If you have,
How do you do that?
What?
No, I'm saying, how do you do it if you have the Apple TV? Because it's on the phone, but I just tried it, but nothing came up.
If you have an Apple TV, you want to do you have a iPad or a laptop?
Well, it's connected to my phone, the Apple TV.
Right. Okay.
So it should go through, right?
The only challenge with connecting it with your phone is that it's going to see what's on your phone, which is going to be a different view than if it were on an iPad or a computer. So if you're able to connect your iPad or computer to the Apple TV, but Linda, if you have to, you can do it from your phone. It'll pop up onto the screen the way it's on your phone.
I don't have an Apple TV, so.
Okay, so the next thing, the next option, Rachel, feel free to jump in, or Sherry, but the next option, if my husband was here, I would have him jump in. I don't know where he went. The next option is that you can connect with an HDMI cable. There is a way to connect your TV to your computer. And then Sherry, you had a third thing that you said people
Yes.
were talking about.
So some of it, a lot of it,
Find David.
a lot of it depends on the exact device that you have, what kind of laptop or computer or iPad, and what kind of TV you have. You don't necessarily need a smart TV. I happen to have a TV that it is a smart TV, but my remote has a button that says YouTube. And if I can call up a YouTube video on my laptop and I play it on my TV screen. That's
How
what
does that happen?
it's on my remote. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do for services. But before I had that, there was one kind of HDMI cable that I bought at Best Buy, I think. I said to them, this is my computer and this is my TV. And they said, this is the cable. And at the time I didn't have a smart TV. So my suggestion is to go on the internet and put in and Google it, and whatever laptop or computer that you have and whatever kind of TV you have, and it will come up. This is the this is what you need to show it on your TV. It's very possible that you also have a feature on your remote that you probably did not know you have.
What is the feature? What's the feature on the remote?
On my remote, it says YouTube.
Oh, I don't think we have that.
So, and I can watch a YouTube video, so that's how I can access something here. And I've watched many webinars on my TV because it's just
YouTube on the remote? Do we have that?
But we're not.
Yeah. No.
Right, but this isn't on YouTube. This isn't on YouTube.
It's not, but I'm just saying, if you have that, then you have the ability to get whatever is on your screen on your TV.
No, we don't have
But
that.
I've tried it with Zooms and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
YouTube I can do from my phone to my TV or my computer to TV, but Zooms do not go to my TV.
Right. No, the only way this works is if you have something, because Zoom is not an app that goes up on the smart TVs. So the way it works is if there's a connection between your computer and your TV. So I just was talking with my parents the other day, and like many of you, they've been enjoying lots of things online, concerts and all sorts of different things. So I said to them, not just because of the high holidays, but I said in general, it might behoove them to get something like an Apple TV. There's a few different products out there that you can get. By the way, an Apple TV is not a TV. It's about the size of this, the phone. It's a little black box that goes by your TV, and it allows you to see so many things on the TV.
I gave it to the kids. I had it.
Right, that you're streaming from your computer or your iPad or your phone. You're streaming, that's the language, onto the TV. So I actually told I convinced my parents that that would make the most sense, because not just for the holidays, but unfortunately we're in this for a while, and I know many of you are really enjoying watching lots of things, history and music and all sorts of things, and they all look better on a TV than on a little computer. So if there's more questions about this particular topic, we're going to try. There is a document that we actually got a hold of, but sometimes too much information is too confusing. So we will send out a document later today. Sherry, you have that document, right? That
have the document. So whether it's Apple TV or a specific HDMI cable that you just hook up, it is not complicated.
Let me just say one thing here. There are only two ways to get from your iPad, your phone, or your computer onto your TV screen. If you have Apple products, it's an Apple TV box, and it costs $150. HDMI out into HDMI in on your computer, and then anything on your laptop or your iPad or your phone can just be streamed via AirPlay to your computer. That's it. There's no other way to get from an Apple product into your computer. I mean, it's
Got it.
into your TV. I mean, there's no other way. It's just how
Thank
it
you,
is.
David. That makes it very
Now,
simple.
if you
Thank
don't
you.
have an Apple product, if you're using an Android or some other 1812, you know, a phone,
Thanks.
then you can use what's called, I think, a Roku or a stick.
Right,
What do you call
right,
it?
Yes.
What's that stick called?
Stick.
Anybody?
I don't remember.
Anyhow, there's a couple of very cheap things. They cost $30 or $40 or $50. Apple's always going to be more. And that's it. And so, yeah, having a smart TV with all those apps are great, but that's for Netflix, Amazon, you know, all those different things. Just, yeah, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. This does not apply to this kind
Apple.
of situation.
Got it. Okay.
And I would be happy to come to anybody's house with a mask on and set it up if they buy it. If they want to get the TV.
Might need you.
Okay.
To know.
There you
As
go.
long as Jack's not home at the time I come, I'm happy to be there.
I'm technologically challenged.
So,
and I can tell you
what,
it's
Cindy?
It's very easy to hook up the HDMI from a PC laptop to any TV, whether it's smart or not. The only thing with mine is I had to disconnect my Netflix box HDMI and do it computer only.
Right.
And it's very easy, and it's the cheapest, the quickest, and you don't have to learn new technology.
Beautiful.
So what do you do? Repeat that, please.
You take your PC, you get an HDMI cable that's going to cost you maybe $20 or $30 maximum at Best Buy or somewhere else. You unplug your FiOS Verizon box from your TV.
Right.
You plug in from your laptop or computer, your PC computer, right into the computer, into your TV. Because my input wasn't working with two different HDMI cables. So I had to unplug the Verizon box, plug in the HDMI cable into my TV, and it works perfectly. And if you're technologically challenged like me, it takes you 3 minutes and you're done.
Great.
Well, we'll call David and he'll come.
Well, David's good on Mac. He's not as good on non-Mac.
Yeah, he had to figure it out. He owes me. He hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I know. I know. Thank you, Cindy. Well, Cindy apparently could walk somebody through if it's a PC because it sounds like it's not so complicated. So thank you, Cindy. Let me go back into gallery. Who else? Marcia, did you ever get unmuted? You were
Yes,
trying...
I did. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Right, but you
I
can
was
question,
unmuted.
Marcia,
I
go
was
ahead.
unmuted. I muted myself and I could not unmute again.
Oh, so strange. Okay, no problem.
But thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yeah, Cindy, go ahead.
I saw in one of the emails, it said that when we sign into Zoom, we need to have our email and the screen name we used. I'm used to just signing in with my email.
It should be fine with the email. They asked for your screen name, but it's right, Rachel. It seems that we don't need to have the screen name.
Yeah, the email for the authorization, the email's fine. That's all you're going to know. It's what it is that because everyone, we need to know who's in the room. A lot of the time, it was just to get a sense of when you pop up in the Zoom room, right? Who you are, because sometimes people don't label their screens. It comes up as my iPad or like, you know, so this way it would be a little easier for us to see who it is.
Right. So for example, if you look right now, if you're in gallery mode and you look, most of us have our names. Mine says MakomNY, but most of us have our names on it. Linda, I'm glad that you're on as you are. So Linda says iPhone.
Well, because I was trying to do the Apple thing, but
yeah,
I
no,
can't
don't worry. Don't worry. It's totally fine. It's actually good because you're the only one. So Linda is on as iPhone. What you can do if you come on on a device and it's not saying your name is you just put your cursor over your own screen and there should be 3 dots and you click on the 3 dots and it'll say rename. And you can rename yourself like every Friday night, Ethel and Raul Yusum, they rename their screen every Friday based on who exactly is in their living room. So sometimes it's Ethel and Raul, sometimes it's Ethel, sometimes it's Raul, sometimes their kids are there. They rename their screen each time. So you can name your screen whatever you want to name it. So like Helene Beatus, I see you in there. Yours says Abraham. So if you wanted, you could put both of you in there. Okay, so that's all that in terms of, but thank you, Cindy, for bringing that. We weren't sure when we put out the form if we were going to need that or not, but it turns out that we can work fine just with the email address. Other questions? Okay. Whoosh. So don't forget, every service, the room, whatever the room is, will open 15 minutes prior so that you can start to get on if there's an issue. When you get the email from us, again, hopefully Rachel and I are working on this later today, hopefully tonight, you will get the email from us. When you get the email, you can click right away because that will remind you if you haven't yet set up your Zoom account. It doesn't cost anything to set up a Zoom account. You don't give any credit card information. It's really, really simple. And it'll benefit you in other webinars that you might be joining beyond Macomb. Okay. Ruth, do you need someone to reach out to you to help you walk through it?
Yes. You know, I apologize. I sent a message, but I didn't have my glasses on to type it in, so it's a little crazy. But I wish you all a Zisen Pesach and good health to everybody. I'm watching you, and I'm hearing about the pandemic, that they tell us to hunker down, which means it's going to take a long time, and that science is we should be following science, not politics.
Yes, agreed. That's why we're unfortunately doing the holidays on Zoom so that we can try and stay as safe as possible.
One thing, Rabbi, and
yes.
I love you, and I feel so good when I see you, and thank you for everything. So now when I click off, I go to what I wrote down. It'll automatically on my email will say Zoom US.
So no, so when you end this meeting, you're going to go on your browser, whatever browser on your computer you have, and you're going to go to zoom.us, and then you're going to return or enter that, and that Zoom site will come up. But Ruth, somebody, either Sherry or Rachel, will reach out to you to make sure we get you set up, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right. Does anybody else, I know Nora needs an outreach. Does anybody else need a specific outreach, or you think you can try it? And if you have trouble, you can always reach back.
Thank you. I'm going to click off, Rabbi, okay?
Okay, bye, Ruth. Thank you.
Bye. Be well, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
So we hope to see everybody later between 4 and 6 o'clock in Bethpage. Sherry will be there the whole time along with a few others. What?
I just have one more comment. If you have an issue, we're going to ask you that you contact us by Wednesday. Please do not wait till Thursday night or Friday if there's an issue. It's just too hard to do, and we want to make sure that we help everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Good job.
All right. We'll send this out in case people need it. And great to have you all this morning. Have a wonderful Sunday. We'll see you later. Don't forget, our last meditation is tomorrow night at 8:30 with Agnes, and they're really wonderful. So we invite anybody and everybody to join us right back here in the same meeting room. No confusion. This same meeting room. Those who I haven't met yet, great to see you, and I look forward to celebrating the holidays with you. All right. All right.